us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Several visitors this morning. Some of which may be a little longer than others. Let's see. If y'all would be in agreement, let's take a couple that are real short so we can get them maybe on their way. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Let's do number 13, the replat of lot 10 and 11, block 1 of Cape Estes, and the final plat of lot 10R. We do have a replat application, tax certificates, and the final plat of lot 10R. You look at this.
Yes, ma'am. We just need a couple other people needs to sign it. I think you and Will.
I signed.
Oh, you did? Okay.
The two.
I'll make a motion that we replat lot number 10 and 11, block 1 of Cape Estes subdivision into a final plat of lot 10R.
I second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried.
I guess I didn't hear you ask if anybody wanted to speak. Did you?
I did not. I'll go right back to that. Just a moment. If you want to send this to the clerk's office for them.
I'll go record it right now.
All right. If you'll take it, there's that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right. We do have proof of posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of Texas Government Codes amending known as the Texas Open Meeting Act, and any members of the public who wish to speak shall have 3 minutes. Mr. Morgan?
Thank you. We continue to have a noise problem in this county. I'm being forced to go to the hospital. I go all the way to Palestine. I'm run out of my house because of the noise. And I got a log here where it shows about 3 or 4 times. I got blood pressure of 200 and 185, 197. I've got this. This is happening in my house. I don't like that. I jump up and have to run because I don't want to get killed. I mean, I have to get my heart to explode. So this is continuing. And I've called the sheriff's office, and they'll call them up, and it'll be down for a little while, and they crank it up again. This is not a way to live. In Freestone County, this is very prevalent. We got 10 people that have died in this county because of it, and we got more being harmed. It's just not the way we want to operate Freestone County. So we got to get our hand on this noise somehow. I know I'm working with our state representative, and that's a lengthy process. And but our people are being harmed. I mean, we've had several of them in the hospital last month. So we've got to do something. How can we do something to get them to keep their noise down and keep them harming us? I'm tired of running to the hospital.
As we talked about before, what we can do is going to the legislature and getting them to put specifically in a statute.
Well, we have a statute, House Bill 1818, that I helped get passed, and it says that they've got to protect us, the Railroad Commission. So I guess we got to go to the Railroad Commission. But your state attorney general says, oh, they can put out all the noise they want to. What an idiot. I mean, this is crazy for to be able to tell the oil and gas they can do that. So we've got to get it turned around somehow. And we can start in this county, talking to the oil and gas people ourselves. And say, hey, look, you're harming our people. We're not going to put up with our kids being brain damage and all this kind of stuff. That's happening. It's just too bad of stuff and harming people that we can't ignore it any longer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. All right.
Judge Grant, as of our fire department, Fairfield Fire Department meeting last night, we have a new fire chief, and that's Anthony Roberts. I just want to introduce y'all to him, the Commissioner's Court.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming today. Appreciate your service. Any other comments from the public? All right. We do have this morning our two district judges, court coordinator, and the people from staff that they want to do a presentation. Do we want to go ahead and do that so we can get them back to work, or is that good? All right.
I think as most of you know me, I'm Pat Simmons. I'm judge of the 77th District Court, and I'm retiring this year. So this isn't a benefit for me, okay? I'll serve my last day as 77th judge the end of December, but I think it's important for the county. When I first started practicing, and that was a long time ago, but the greatest technology we had was to be able to enlarge photographs, and that's what we would do. Now every law enforcement officer, almost every, has video and audio cams on them. They record everything. Juries expect it, even if it's not relevant. They want to see what happened, okay? And so what happens is almost every trial we have, unless it's a sexual assault or something that's obviously probably not going to be recorded, but if it's officers' assaults, drug deals, evading arrest, all sorts of things, they're recorded, both audio and video. And what happens is, when we're at trial, Brian will wheel in the big TV set, and I'll have to move the defendant and his attorney over next to the jury. A lot of jurors don't really like that. Then I have to move the jury around so that everybody can see the television and see what's going on. We need to improve that situation. A few years ago, we had a highway patrolman that was murdered in this county. I think everybody here knows about it. I transferred that case to Brazos County, to Bryan to try, because of the publicity. But you know what? We couldn't have tried this case here anyway. I was down there. There were so many videos, so much audio that was done, there's no way we could have tried it in Freestone County anyway. I guess what I'm saying is we really need to work on coming into the 21st century. And again, this isn't for me, folks. This is for Judge Ward, soon to be Judge DeFriend. I mean, we're talking about sort of basic stuff now. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Misty and Mr. Meyer, and they can kind of talk about the details a little bit about it.
Ryan, would you like to kind of tell a little bit about what was done when we did the courthouse before we began?
Yes, ma'am. What I remember being done is almost some pathways that were cut under the floor to kind of go from both council tables up to the bench and things like that, because I think we anticipated at some point in time, whether it was 2024 or sometime in the future, coming back and having to run some wiring to upgrade the courtroom. So that's already been done, so good job looking ahead by the court and getting that stuff put in.
Thank you. And
This is Preston Meyer, he's with Jazz, and as I guess you know, Jazz is the company that has the county courtroom wired for recording. He came in and gave us a bid for improving or amplifying our audio and putting in a full AV system. I will say that I've reached out to a company, I'm aware that we have to have bids over a certain amount. I reached out to Electrolink, a Dennis Zutschel. This is the company that is doing Leon County's district courtroom. He came down on January 30th, went through the whole walkthrough with Dane and I, told him what we needed. I've requested a bid from him a couple of times, and I'm getting radio silence. So I've tried to reach out and get another bid. I'm not really sure what the third company would be. There are very few companies that specialize in courtroom audiovisual. Now, the Electrolink does not specialize in courtroom. They're just an AV company that, and you have to remember, Leon County is operating in a annex, so there are no restrictions on what they can or can't do to the courtroom. So we're talking about adding monitors, a sound system. It'll run through a JAVS board like the county courtroom does, but we won't be recording because we require a court recorder, but it will operate, let us have full AV system. I'm gonna let y'all ask any questions that you have to Presley because he can answer those far better than I can.
Yeah, if I could just speak for a moment as well. So JAVS has been around for 45 years. We are the first to do what we do. We currently have over 10,000 installations worldwide across 4 continents, but here specifically in the state of Texas. As I was telling Misty earlier, 64 courtrooms we'll have in the state of Texas once we complete ERAF counties next week. So we're increasing our footprint here. As that continues, a lot of this is about relationships, right? Technology, just like humans, is flawed. And so this isn't something where we're going to come in, install something and just leave it for you guys to figure out a solution. It's a relationship. We worked with your IT department, with Misty, to make sure that we come up with the correct solution for you. Obviously, as you know, a lot of people associate the AV systems with recording. And yes, that's great for what we have. I believe it's in the county courtroom that's downstairs. But that's not really what's necessary. What's necessary is to make sure that everyone has a clear and concise view of, number one, what is everything that is said in the room. Number two, if there's anything coming in remotely. I know that there's not a ton of that right now, but that's kind of the way that we're going in the future. And then evidence presentation, making sure that everyone in the room can have access to whether it be audio, video, photographs, documents, that sort of thing. It's much more easy to facilitate that by being able to present it over a television monitor or something of that nature. So that's what we have in the works. If you guys have questions, I know that the quote is a bit detailed, so if you have questions about specifics, I'm all ears and be glad to.
I will say that the system that we have, we got, what, a year ago or so, but
yes,
it works great and it's really been a help to us. And I know y'all may have used it a couple of times.
We have.
For just certain little things, but we had trouble getting a court reporter, and so that's why we went to that. But and we have had some issues at the beginning trying to get that to work, but they have been very good about helping us and working with us.
So,
and I appreciate that.
Absolutely. If I could add on as well, we actually have a new tech that just moved in that's in your all's area now. He's based out of the Fort Worth area, so if there is an emergency for whatever reason, he can be here in about whatever that takes, about an hour and a half, 2 hours. 90% of our issues are solved through our help desk. So here we're on Central Time, so that's going to put you at about 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Our help desk is there active. They can remote in, solve most of your issues over the phone. So that's a huge plus. But again, I do want to emphasize that it's a relationship. The first year, so what you're looking at here, the first year of service would be covered. So that's 2 preventative maintenance visits, all-inclusive warranty. All of our equipment is made in-house. So we're based out of Louisville, Kentucky. There in our headquarters, we have Most of the products that you guys would need, should anything need to be replaced, should we need to custom make anything for you, we have a metal shop there and can do that for you. So we're not a parts provider, we're not a service provider, we're an all-encompassing AV solution, is what I would call it. So, and then going on from there, this is what we've created for you guys is kind of a foundational piece. So as you go forward, as technology changes, we can help move with the times as well. So all the equipment, as long as you maintain some sort of service relationship with us, everything's going to be covered under warranty for up to 5 years.
Vicki, did you say a while ago it would not be recorded? What?
We will not be recording in the district courtroom because we have to have a court reporter for the purpose of being able to have appeals and transcripts provided. But it's the same system, we just won't be recording. Does that make sense? I mean, we could record on it, correct?
Yes, so if they're...
How much additional is it if you get the recording part also?
I think it's part of it, isn't it? I mean,
Essentially, so all we would have to do, currently, if you look at the first or second page of your quote, we have labeled what's called the master control unit. For your all's purposes, we don't install a microchip. So there's nothing there that's going to create a recording now. That's something that we could overnight to you, have your tech come out, and you could be recording the next day. So the idea behind it is there's no wasted equipment, right? So if you're just creating an audio-only recording, all it would be is just a service visit and the cost of that microchip, essentially.
I do want to point out that we did not ask Javs to quote the monitors for the wall. We spoke with Presley specifically about this, and for our purposes, just expense purposes, we can go buy a couple of 58-inch monitors at Walmart for around $500 to $600, and they will suffice as long as they have an HDMI cable, as opposed to it being a couple of $1,000 through Javs. So we thought that would be a nice way to cut a little bit of the fat off. So.
Sure. So yeah, and just to add on to that as well, when we're creating a solution, we're trying to, we're not going to try to nickel and dime you. We're trying to create a solution that fits your budget, and so we try to stay within the constraints of what I discussed with Misty. The only difference that you're going to have there by purchasing your own television is that it's just not covered under the warranty, obviously, because it's something that you're providing. If there's an issue with that television, we will, do our best to trace anything back to what the root of the issue is. So the reason I always tell people to provide your own television is because it's a technology now that's so readily available that it's something that you could purchase off the shelf. What we provide is something like if you were to go into a McDonald's or something like that, where it's a 24-hour-a-day specified television for exactly what you're doing. You probably aren't going to be using these monitors for evidence presentation every single day. So in my opinion, there's no sense in providing like a $3,000 television when you could get a Black Friday deal or something of that nature.
And that is not in this quote?
Correct. Anything that you see under the television monitors, that's just going to be the cable runs and labor associated with connecting the television provided.
I sent Presley a link yesterday for a 55-inch from Walmart for $248. He said that would work fine. So you're looking at $500 in televisions there. Of course, I mean, price from today, 2 months from now could change. So $500 to $600 versus $3,000. So.
Yeah, there's not a lot of fluctuation there.
And I just wanted to add, Amy Ward, as the district court judge of the 87th, is not only will this give us the visual aid, but it's going to supplement the ability to hear. And I cannot think of a more important place than a courtroom for the people in that courtroom, the court reporter, myself as judge, the attorneys, and for sure our jury, to understand and hear what's being said. I'm stopping trials right now when we have a soft-spoken witness on the stand, when a truck goes by. I mean, we stopped several times a few weeks ago to hear. And I'm one of these, I have hearing, I could probably hear a pin drop. and I'm struggling to hear many times in there. So not only will I have the visual aid, this will supplement with some speakers as well and microphones on the attorneys. And then we have the witness with one, but it will all supplement and even give our gallery. I know some of you may have attended some recent hearings. If you're sitting over there, you cannot hear. So, and I, know I had as an attorney, as well as I watch it now, I'm watching families of people come to support, and after it's all over with, they're going, what happened? Because they're sitting back there and they can't hear. So I feel like there's just not a more important place. We ensure defendants to have their constitutional right. I would hate that a dire consequence happened with a verdict because the jurors weren't able to hear what the audio was or a witness was testifying to. So with that being said, I just wanted to supplement that because that is something that he can add on to.
Sure. And I would say that's not even a supplementary part of the project. Our main goal when we came in was to make sure that we create a solution that, number one, amplifies all the voices in the room. Historic courthouses, especially like this one, the rooms were not designed to have a PA system. As time has gone on, things change, but we're still trying to protect the historical nature of that room. So with that in mind, you still have a lot of noise coming from the outside. Say somebody's coming by during the summer mowing the lawn, or there's a big truck pulling through, motorcycles. All of these things have been mentioned in the past during our discussions. And there's not a lot that we can do in a historical building to fix the noise coming in because of the nature of the building. I think we just have single pane glasses in that courtroom. But what we can do is amplify those voices in the room, and then what our system will do is take the ambient noise and cancel that out. So that's something that we can do. We can get rid of the echoing that would be associated with amplifying the voices in the room, and make sure that it's a more concise product.
Commissioners, y'all have any questions?
I mean, I've been up here before, it's like, you can't hear, when I sit up there, we couldn't hear anything. I've been an advocate to try to do something about it. What I don't understand is, and it's just me, the Historical Society tells us what we can and can't do, the way I understand it. Well, those windows up there, something needs to be done to those windows. And if you look at these windows, those look like double pane windows that have been put in this over here on this wall, and those over there look like original, to me. So why could we not put double pane windows up there and just tell the Historical Society that this is what we're going to do, and what, with this, we have a problem, so we got to have some help.
Well, we'll be addressing,
That's just my idea.
hopefully we'll be addressing that this summer. If we get this grant from the Historical Commission about doing all of the exterior, we'll be talking to them about getting.
Well, when we were down in our conference last week, I think the ones that sit in on that deal down there, they were wanting to restore them just like those right there, not let them do anything, any other kind of things. And some of those people were saying, those are, that's not working for us. So, I mean, we definitely need to build it
We
here.
will be
right there.
talking to them about that. Thank you, that's a good point. Trying to work with them on things. All right, are there any questions about this? Karen, she had talked to one person and they didn't ever give her a quote. We don't know of anybody else we can get a quote from.
That's right, we're good.
You're good.
I'm good.
All right, we're good.
I was just fixing to try to june down $6,868, because we'd be under the 50. And y'all just messed that up for me, so.
Well, you're
Rest
still
of the lucky day.
talking about it. We could be used, trying to find somebody else, so carry on, yeah.
Any other questions at this time?
You're doing ERAF County right now?
We are working on ERAF, yes, sir. Yeah, we just completed 2 rooms last week, and we're completing the
Anything
larger. Anything closer than ERAF?
There is
Trying to think.
there is a courtroom in Limestone County. The Limestone County courtroom has the audio video recording system. It's not,
But you said it's in the annex? I'm talking about.
No, in Limestone, sorry, maybe I said Lynn, in Limestone County, in their courthouse. But it's the AV recording system, it's not the,
Audio visual,
It'll still be very similar to what you guys would receive.
yes.
You're just not gonna have, as you mentioned, the recording aspect, and then there'll be no video in this room at this time. The TV monitors, that's strictly just for the evidence presentation.
When you do this, I think we talked about a computer at your in your desk there.
Right.
Is this gonna be able to allow you to y'all to have a computer up there where you
Monitor
can
up
look?
there.
Yes,
Monitor there.
so, as far as the judge's desk goes, yes, there will be a touchscreen control panel. From that touchscreen, the judge will also be able to see whatever's being displayed on the main screen, so they'll have their own monitor as well as the ability to admit or not admit evidence. I think that's a key aspect is sometimes we're getting a little bit too far into what's being presented. It'll be easy for the judges to be able to shut off.
and there'll also be a monitor at the witness stand, so the witness doesn't have to turn around and look at anything else. There'll be a monitor on the witness stand for that purpose.
And the jurors will have one, or two.
And let me also say too, something, and I know Judge Ward was talking about the audio out there. We'll have a big one of the TVs is so people in the audience can see what's going on. I mean, you know, folks come in and they have a right to watch the trial, and right now they can't see anything. The TV is turned, and the only people we try and make sure see things are the jurors. We bring the attorneys around. The monitor will let everybody, will be two, one for the jury specifically and one for the entire courtroom, and people will be able to see what's going on.
And how many speakers are we putting in, Preston?
At the moment, we have two what are called a line array speakers. If you want to see what that looks like, we actually have it in the commissioner's courtroom.
The county courtroom
And,
next door.
excuse me, the county courtroom. And so it's a bit overkill, I'd say. You could put on a concert there in the county courtroom right now, Judge Grant. But additionally, we have a third speaker quoted that would probably be facing towards the gallery. Once our team gets in here, we'll make an assessment on where the best location for that is. And that'll strictly be for the gallery purposes so that everything can be heard in the room. There's definitely a difficulty with the two floors, creating an echo in the room. So we wanted to make sure that we address that.
What kind of service contract does this come with?
So it's a 1-year white glove maintenance contract. So that will include 2 preventative maintenance visits in the first year. It'll include unlimited access to our help desk. So if you have an issue one day and then the next morning you come in and you're still not understanding something, you'll have access to our help desk as well. And then we have a tiered preventative maintenance system. So if it's an emergency, we guarantee we'll be out in the first day. It's 2 to 3 days if it's kind of an intermediate, and then within the week.
After that first year.
Yeah. And then so after the first year, the costs associated with that same preventative maintenance agreement would be approximately 15% of the total cost of the equipment itself. So excluding the labor.
$7,500.
Yeah. Yes. So just the equipment itself. And that's the full white glove service. If it's something where you just want access to our help desk and maybe a couple of preventative maintenance trips per year, and then everything else is kind of a la carte, we could work something out as well with that. So, but yeah, 15% of the total cost of the equipment itself is what you're looking at. So.
Do we have the money?
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the proposal from Justice AV Solutions.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, none, motion carried.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Item number 1 is there anything else? Okay. Item number 1 is to approve the minutes of January 19th regular meetings. ready to go? Ma'am, is it signed and ready to go?
Judge, we had no action on that. Our involvement with Freestone County and water go and you're not back on there today. The contract.
We have all of the water contracts done except one, is that correct? And that's correct. All the rest of them are done.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're just waiting. We haven't made any progress on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion on the minutes?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes from the February 19th meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 2 is budget transfers and amendments. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfers.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 3 is to approve paid bills.
special budget fund, is that somebody's, is that a road and bridge precinct? Okay.
What's the
Is
fund?
it TIF
It's at 86,
86?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
82.
There you go.
That real?
That's that encore money,
Uh-huh.
where they, or the money that we pay, that they pay you for the damages. It didn't take long to spend it.
I'm gonna get a balance on what I got in 86 from you.
It's 0.
We'll spend it.
I guess it must be, I guess it must be two to three.
What's that elevator company do?
Is that the maintenance agreement?
What is it?
That's an agreement?
What is it?
Elevator?
Yes, the annual maintenance.
Are we in good shape?
I'm telling you.
Make a motion to approve the bills.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 4 is to approve the payroll. Admin.
Can't tell another. Make a motion to approve the payroll.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Judge Grant, with a little comment on to the end of that, I just want to make sure y'all approve that one, and then I just want to make a little comment
Yes, all
that,
in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried.
sorry.
Pass that around. Yes, ma'am.
So my comment is, it just got brought to my attention this morning that with not the payroll you just approved, but the payroll that will be paid out this week, we have went over, one of the, in the election administrator has went over the 240 hours that by statute can be comp time on the books, and so by 20 hours. So by statute, we have to pay that at least the 20 hours down this payroll. We can't let it go over the 240. So I'm just bringing it to y'all's attention that the payroll we're processing right now, there was like 62 hours comp time gained, and so that put that over. And so we will be paying that down to the, unless the court decides something different, we'll be paying it down to the 240. And because there was election day yesterday, there's probably additional next time that we'll have to pay down. So I'm just bringing that to y'all's attention, that that's an unfunded liability. The county does not fund for comp time to be paid out, so that will be having to found in their budget and possibly later on.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought it up now, and not what we went through before.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will talk to her and encourage her to take that comp time off before we get to another election time. Reports. I have a report from the treasurer's office. No, yeah, taxing entities that have paid, isn't that correct?
Yes, that's just showing we collected all the tax parcels for this year.
Okay. And TIG pays in 3 different payments, but the total is all of it's paid at this time.
That's correct.
That's for us collecting taxes. One from the county clerk for January. Senior services for January. JP3. February. Extension for February. Bless you.
Excuse me.
Anyone else have a report?
Should have another, I'll tell you.
IT report for February. Anyone else? Do we have a motion to accept the reports?
I'll make that motion.
I say.
All in favor, aye? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 6, burn ban.
No action.
I think we're good right
Sir?
now. I think we're good right now on the burn.
Green's coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Going
green.
to be better.
After tomorrow.
That's right.
Yeah, don't forget to rain.
No action. Item number 7, special road use agreements and education certificates. Well, 7 is special road use agreements, we don't have any of those. 8 is approved bonds and education certificates. We do have Gene McKinney, treasurer, Clyde Ellis Ridge. Oh, nice paper. This was the County Judges and Commissioners Association. And Andy Bonner. Do we have any more? Anyone have one? If not, do we have a motion to accept these? Approve these.
Make that motion. Accept and approve.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carried. Item number 9 is to discuss the victim coordinator position for the county attorney's office.
Good morning, everybody. Let me start off by kind of going through the history of that position with my office. When I first came in 2017, there was no victim coordinator in the DA's office. I thought at that time, instead of coming to the commissioners, to the court to ask for money, I went through a grant process. I went through the AG's office, applied for that grant, and got $35,000 from the state. So at that point in time, instead of coming to the county and asking for the county to cover the fringe and the insurance on that $35,000 to make that position full-time, I decided to put that $35,000 into a part-time victims coordinator. We had Linda Manning to start off with. Linda was fantastic, the best person in the world. She passed away. We were able to hire Rachel Morris. After that, Rachel was fantastic. She left for another opportunity here recently. The reason I bring that up is that I'm kind of at a crossroads with that position, and I want to turn it into a full-time position. I think it needs to be full-time. We deal with victims every day. In fact, that's the most difficult part of the job, is making sure that they're adequately informed of what's going on and making sure their needs are met through the criminal justice system. Going back, the AG's office took away our grant. Okay, so I was paying it through $35,000. They took that away, said no more grant. Obviously, we're dealing with Senate Bill 22 at this point in time, right? So we all know that that money's coming in at some point in time. Here's what I can do is I've been able to allocate $52,000 of that Senate Bill 22 money to this position to make it full-time. The only thing I'm lacking is $10,600 for the insurance. The reason being is the rest of that money is allocated to other employees in the office at this point in time. I had 40 in that line item for that position before Rachel left. I've been able to gather up another $12,000 to cover the fringe. And I'm asking for the county not just to meet me halfway, right? I'm kind of over the halfway line, but to meet me with that $10,600 to pay for the insurance for that employee, and I'll pay for the other $52,000 to make it full time. The last thing I'll say, then field any questions that you may have, is that there's a chance, since I haven't had Rachel since early February, there may be a chance for the remainder of this budget for me to find that $10,600 in the remaining Senate Bill 22 that's not allocated. Does that make sense? I'm not being too confusing with that. The only thing I want clarity from the commissioners is whoever I hire at full time, when we go back around through the next budget, I would need to know whether the county's paying for that $10,600 at that point in time, right? So I had the thought about making it work right now, but I thought it'd be better to come in front of y'all and kind of clarify this thing about how the county stands so I can make sure I'm clear with whoever I'm trying to hire.
So out of that money that you'll have left over from that salary that's not filled now will be used to pay part of this insurance, correct?
I'm looking at Karen to help me. She knows I'm not necessarily a numbers guy, and that's why she's here. We discussed that, Clyde. I would think any leftover money from Rachel, I'm going to use the gap period between Rachel and whoever I get. I'm assuming that extra money can be used to put towards that $10,600 for the remaining part of the budget. I'm thinking we may go long enough that maybe there's going to be enough in there. I don't know that for sure. But again, my worry is not only that, but then going into next budget, I'd be asking for that $10,600 to come from the county and my 52 come in to pay for the rest. But yes, sir, I think we'd be able to cut that number down for what we're sitting here right now, potentially to zero.
So we're not creating a new position, we're just going from part-time to full-time, and we pay insurance on all employees.
You do.
We'll essentially be establishing a new
I'm talking
position.
next year.
Yeah, I wonder, and y'all would have to tell me of how you look at it. So yes, it's a part-time victim coordinator position that I'm asking to go full-time. So I think you can look at it like a transition from part-time to full-time. You could definitely look at it as establishing a
I
new.
would think if we're providing that would be establishing a new permanent, full-time position.
Meaning you don't have to advertise.
Yes, yes,
If it goes
ma'am.
from part-time to full-time, you have to advertise.
May I ask one question? Okay, so what the job that you was insinuating, what are they actually doing?
So they're meeting with victims. Let me put it this way, we get 600 cases a year.
Okay.
Okay, misdemeanors and felonies.
Okay.
I would say a high percentage of those have some type of victim, right? Whether it's an assault victim, whether it's theft, sexual assault, unfortunately, we get a lot of those. It takes a lot of time to make sure that those victims are informed of what's upcoming. They can help them get on BindLink to track potentially an abuser that's in jail and for them to be able to keep up whether they're incarcerated or not. There's victim compensation that they made, whether they're moving away from an abuser, whether they've had damage to their home, travel expenses, hotel expenses, things like that. That takes quite some time to navigate. Let me make sure I haven't mentioned this yet. Protective orders.
Okay.
We get a lot of people that come in, some qualify, some don't, but again, that time is spent with them because they're in some type of abusive relationship and be able to talk out what the solutions are to that, whether it is a protective order, whether we need to get in touch with law enforcement, hey, maybe get a case started, things of that nature.
So are they actually like this person? Are they actually going to this person? Are they actually bringing them in and having meetings with them and actually doing a one-on-one with them? Is these the type of things that are taking place with them and the victim?
All the above.
Okay.
We deal with victims that can travel, right? So it's like, hey, I got a sexual assault case coming up Friday, for instance. I don't have a victim coordinator, so I reach out to the victim to set up a meeting.
Okay.
Run my hands at the victim coordinator, hey, get a gist. You have to realize too, some cases are a little bit delayed. So I don't know where the victim even is, right? Maybe CPS may be involved and they've moved a child that was sexually abused from a family to somewhere else. So that victim coordinator is going to track that down. They may get with CPS, hey, where'd y'all place this child? Okay, now they're living in Bryan College Station. Potentially that victim coordinator may drive to Bryan College Station, depending, right? Or set up a Zoom or things of that nature. So everything you said, we deal with victims of all different shapes and sizes and ability to be able to come into our office, and the victim coordinator helps with that process.
Okay. I just want to kind of get an understanding of how look at what they do.
It's a very important position. It helps me out a lot. I've been very fortunate to have two so far that have been really, really good, and hopefully third time's a charm as well. So.
That 600 a year average, was it less than that in 17 and it's kind of grown?
I would, and I'm sorry I don't have that number for you, I would think that it's been about the same. Maybe with a little, I think every year you're going to get a little bit of growth depending.
That's what I was just wondering. Not from how we make a decision on this, but out of curiosity, is those type of crimes, are they gradually getting worse or gradually getting better or staying the same?
I would say probably staying the same, but I think again, every year you're probably gonna have a little bit of an uptick in cases. Right now, what I'm seeing, not necessarily dealing with assaults, because I think the sheriff's office and local PD handle those more, is our troopers aren't in Austin and they're not at the border. And so we're getting a lot more cases, luckily, with them being here and present and pulling people over and making cases. Not their fault, right? They just get pulled in so many directions. So right now, we're getting a big influx of cases, it feels like, because we got a lot of boots on the ground in a very good way. I would say the cases are staying the same. I think that even before I made it work with the part-time, not having the victim coordinator there on Fridays is a burden that we can handle, but victims still come in on Fridays, right? My office is just able to make it work. I think having that person there for those days would be helpful, even with the caseload we have now.
So this is basically just for our information today, because you're gonna see if the money's.
I would like for, my want is for you to vote on it and give me a clear heading on one way or another.
For next year.
Before you hire.
You would want to establish a
Before I hire
full-time
somebody.
job if you didn't know that budget
Okay.
approval would be to pay that issue.
Yes, sir, and here's what I would say, Andy, the way I would look at it if I was in your shoes, is that you're voting for me to spend, for you to give me $10,600 for this budget that we're in right now, and $10,600 moving forward for every budget. But know that the $10,600 that you may be out this budget is going to drop down because of the gap period.
Well, we don't have a full year left either.
Like I said, I just can't guarantee you, as I stand here right now, and be able to cut that number down to zero. It's going to get cut down from the $10,600 though. But
And it's clarification for my office, because right now that position in our spreadsheet is a part-time position, so to go to call it a full-time position, I think we need that clarification.
We have to approve that.
Yes, yes, sir.
We're basically
Yes, sir.
establishing another full-time position.
I'll make a motion, we make it a full-time position.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carried.
thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we will now go to item 10. Consider recommendations from the CPS board to appoint Holly Robertson and Laura Togwell. You and Jeannie are both on the board, is that correct? And y'all have done whatever paperwork and stuff that you need to do to get that approved for them to serve on the CPS board. So we're just now asking that these two be appointed.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Thank
Just
y'all
one
for
other word on
serving.
that is that
Thank
we have
you.
a few more positions available if anybody's interested in filling out a vacation and being on the board.
Great. It's a good service, it surely is. Item number 12, large brush truck for working. Volunteer fire department.
So I think y'all have the quotes. We talked about this back before the first of the year on the grant we received from the Forest Service. Max is $240,000. So we started getting quotes, scared me to death. We did not get a quote until this one that was less than $300,000. And I'm like, there's no way we can do this. And we had one quote finally that we got that was $270 something, but zero equipment. Nothing on the truck, just a John's truck. So, yeah, the price of all the stuff has just gone up immensely. But, so this quote was $266,750. The international chassis we had to go with, that's $80,690 of that, of the quote. We really kind of wanted to go with Ford, but good luck getting a Ford. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. We have to have an F600, and I know there's places that have still been waiting over a year for a chassis to be delivered. It's just, I don't know what the deal is with Ford, but they are so far behind. So this is the quote we went with. I know I talked to Karen yesterday. Her concern was that it said that the quote was good for 30 days. This has already been locked in. I did talk to Don at Wildfire yesterday evening. Everything's locked in. The chassis is ordered. We're hoping the chassis will get delivered sometime between June and August. They told us 6 to 8 months on the chassis, but that's when we're hoping it'll come in. One of the things I was talking to Karen about yesterday is to keep that price from increasing on the chassis. They want us to pay for it when it gets delivered to the upfitters. Karen said that's not a problem as long as y'all approve all of
I'll
this today.
check.
So, we'll
Now,
get a
that
check.
will-
So
That
it's-
will be in next budget, probably. No?
the chassis part will
This
not
check
be
would be
the
now.
80,690 would be somewhere possibly between June and August.
June and August, okay.
So I just found this out yesterday.
Okay.
Right.
Good order.
So,
Can you get that figure again, that we'll need, 80,
For the chassis is 80,690.
okay.
The upfitting cost is $186,060. So that gives a total of $266,750. The grant funds, as soon as the truck's completed, the truck will get delivered to us. The day it gets delivered, we will be calling the Forestry Service to come do their inspection. And they'll come within a day or so and do it. They're pretty quick if you call them. So then we'll get a check for $240,000. So that'll leave the difference of $26,750 on the grant.
What did you say, what you said chassis was gonna come?
80,000.
No, not this one.
Oh, the Ford?
Yeah.
So no, not the chassis. On the quotes that we were getting to build this brush truck, this grant, we weren't getting any that was less than $300,000 to build a brush truck. I mean, it's just gotten, the prices are ridiculous. Yeah.
What gallon tank is that, 1,000?
500.
Oh, 500 is where you get around.
Yeah, 500 on it's an international chassis. Oh, what is it? It's a CV 515. I don't know if y'all know what that is or not. I've seen them. We actually went and before we went with this quote, we went and looked at several brush trucks that had been built on this chassis. It's a good truck.
Under CDL. I mean,
Yes.
Karen,
I saw the 23,
so considering that the bid amount, the grant amount is 240,
Yes.
so we pay 10% of that.
Yes.
And then it's 26,000 above the 240, so it's gonna be about the 50 that we pay.
5750.
5750.
So if we have to put this 80,690 out,
Yeah.
we'd be getting, before the end of this fiscal year, once the grant kicks in, we'd get part of that back.
Yes.
It'd be like
Well,
we
as soon
prepaid,
We should,
it'd be like we've already
we
prepaid ours.
should end up just paying the 57 or whatever it is, something like that.
What would be,
you get 23.
the total difference, so what the state's gonna send us a check for $240,000. And I'm gonna bring that check to Karen as soon as I get it and sign it over to her. So the difference would be the $26,750.
So there wasn't, not 10%.
It will be less than 10, it will be the 240 less than 10%,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yes.
So they'll,
No, it'll be, the check will be $240,000 is the max that they will give.
okay.
So with this cost at $266, they'll give the entire $240,000.
Well, happy day.
Okay.
We'll pay the
So
76.
We'll pay
that's
the
my
26.
understanding.
We'll already have to pay it.
We've already had
That's
that.
my understanding, that's the max grant amount's $240,000. So you have to go up to, it's right at 266 to get that full amount.
Mhm.
So that
Perfect.
leaves, yeah, so the difference on that, we should get a check for $240,000 that I will bring to Karen.
Okay.
And I won't even, I'll get it, bring it to her, endorse it, and then for her to deposit.
All right, we have a motion.
Make that motion.
Second.
Thank y'all very much, we appreciate it.
And the motion is to approve, paying the county county's portion of the grant and to,
Allow them to go ahead and pay for the 2024 International CV 515.
yes.
Whatever that is, that they'll call me as soon as they
Do I have a
get
second?
set the.
Yeah, they,
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank y'all all very much.
No, motion carried. Well, that's good. Another recap, so we're down to the county building renovations and dispatch. We have a couple of sheets that are, they're spreadsheets. Karen, do you have one? I do.
I can say that I got the third quote for concrete this morning, and if y'all want to scratch out the 29.6, which was the first quote, I got another one after that for right at 27, and then the one come in this morning, this is apples to apples, square footage, same thickness, number 3 rebar, so the best quote we got from a reputable company for $24,700. So that brought it down about $4,900. And I spoke with Dan yesterday. He's still waiting on a firm quote on his cabinets, but we went over how much, we talked about him spending minus the concrete, and he thinks he's good. He's getting an additional quote on some of the carpenter work up there yesterday, so we couldn't save any more.
All right, well, we're a work in progress. Anything else? We have a second. Do we have a second to adjourn?
I'll say.
All in favor, aye.
But